basketball?
Volleyball.
One of those staticky things you touch and it like
An
has
angel.
legs.
Jesus.
A dead mannequin. Stomach acid.
A person bleeding.
A
clown.
pizza.
A
Pizza.
snake.
That's pizza.
Pizza.
Oh,
Food.
okay.
Food.
Is it systems of the body?
Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Bethany,
And I'm Jory.
and today we will be giving you a crash course in organ systems.
In this lesson, we'll be mainly focusing on the nervous, digestive, respiratory, and immune systems, but we'll briefly review the reproductive, muscular, skeletal, circulatory, and excretory systems.
Let's begin with the nervous system. The function of the nervous system is to create coordination between cells. It collects, transfers, and processes information as well as directs short-term change in other organ systems. There are two major groups in the nervous system, peripheral and central. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system consists of all the nerves found within the body.
So how does it work? The brain contains neurons, which are used to transfer signals. They can be activated in response to a variety of things, including emotional, physical, and reflexive needs. The chemicals which transmit these signals between the neurons are called neurotransmitters.
The next system we will be talking about is the digestive system. The purpose of the digestive system is to break food down into energy that can be used by the body. It begins with the teeth physically breaking food into smaller pieces. This part is very important and even has its own name, mechanical digestion. As you chew, an enzyme in your saliva called amylase begins breaking apart larger starches. When you swallow, the pharynx receives the food and closes the tracheal flap so that it doesn't accidentally go into your lungs.
This is where digestion becomes even more interesting. After passing through the pharynx, the esophagus uses muscular contractions to continue forcing the food through the rest of the digestive system. These contractions are called peristalsis. When the food reaches the stomach, it is broken down even farther so the body is able to absorb the energy and nutrients from it. Anything that is not absorbed in the stomach will be bombarded with enzymes from the liver and pancreas and the small intestine until the body is able to absorb it before it moves to the large intestine, where the waste to be excreted is processed and extra water is removed.
The digestive system relates to the excretory system, since both excrete waste. While humans make solid waste, we also make liquid waste. The kidneys are the primary organs of the excretory system. Your kidneys are about the size of your clenched fist. Also, the liver is important as well. Its main job is to detoxify ammonia, which creates urea. Urea is then sent to the kidneys where it is excreted from the body as urine. The kidneys also filter out mineral salts and a little bit of water in urine. Let's go to Montana with a demonstration.
Hello and welcome to the demonstration station. For today's demonstration, we'll be showing you how kidneys work. As you can see here, we have our kidney suspended in some water. This tubing represents the nephrons of our kidneys, which are the structures that filter our blood. Each of our kidneys have over 1 million nephrons. The nephrons filter our blood and produce waste, which we all know as urine. In the cup, the nephrons will start to filter the blood. You can't see it here since it takes time for the blood to filter, but don't worry. Here you can see after some time that the water has turned yellow. Also, the water is now salty since the salt in the blood has diffused out into the water. Alright, that's it for today. Back to you guys.
Wow, thanks for that demonstration. In human kidneys, urine is held in the urinary bladder and leaves the body through the urethra.
Up next is the respiratory system. The purpose of the respiratory system is to supply oxygenated blood to the body. One of the most important organs involved in the respiratory system is the lungs, which are made up of tiny sacs called alveoli. These tiny sacs are the sites of gas exchange. When you inhale, hemoglobin in the red blood cells grab onto oxygen and moves all over the body. When it detects an area that needs oxygen, it releases the oxygen and grabs onto a carbon dioxide molecule to carry it back to the alveoli for removal.
Next, we have the cardiovascular system. The main job of the cardiovascular system is to transport oxygen throughout the body and to remove waste from the cells, like carbon dioxide. The main components of the cardiovascular system are the heart, blood vessels, and blood. We have arteries, which carry blood full of oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body, and we also have veins, which carry blood without oxygen back to the lungs.
Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Home Experiments. In just a moment, you will learn how to test your lung capacity. Before we can start, let's learn a little bit about lung capacity. Your lung capacity is how much air your lungs can hold. There are many things that affect your lung capacity, like overall health, certain health conditions like asthma, how active you are, age, and height. Now that we know a little bit about lung capacity, let's get started. First, we need some materials. The things we will need are some balloons, a measuring tape or some string and a ruler, and a piece of paper. Before we get started on the experiment, we need a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a prediction of what we think what will happen, and it is what we will base our experiment on. For today's episode, we'll be testing this hypothesis. Exercise decreases your lung capacity. Today, Montana and Bethany will be putting my hypothesis to the test. Alright, the first thing you need to do is grab a balloon and stretch it a bit. When your balloon is stretched, take a deep breath and blow all your air into the balloon. Once you run out of air, pinch the end shut with your fingers. Now, have another person measure the circumference of the balloon. The circumference is the distance around the widest part of the balloon. Make sure to record these numbers on a piece of paper in centimeters. It is important to have multiple trials and experiments to have accurate results. Let's do it 2 more times. Time for the second part of the experiment. Before you blow into your balloon, do jumping jacks for 45 seconds. Like before, do this 3 times total and record your circumferences. Phew! We did it! Now it's time for the not so fun part, math. Using the circumference for each balloon, we can calculate the diameter of the balloon. Just take your circumference and divide it by pi, which has a value of 3.14. Since we have the diameter, we can determine which balloon is the largest and to see if our hypothesis is correct. Now we're going to find the average of each trial for each person for each of the different experiments. So you're going to take each number, add them up, and then you're going to divide it by the number of numbers that we added. So in this case, it'll be 3. It looks like our hypothesis was correct. The 2 values right here are lower than the values here, which means that exercise decreases lung capacity. Thanks for joining us today on today's episode of Home Experiments. Today we learned about lung capacity and how to find the diameter and circumference of a sphere. See you next time! The final organ system we'll be going in depth with is the immune system, and its job is to defend the body against foreign cells, such as microbial pathogens and diseases. There are many parts of the immune system, including leukocytes, tonsils, adenoids, thymus, and spleen, and each part plays a different role in protecting the body.
Indeed they do. For example, bone marrow and the thymus produce the cells that destroy other cells that are attempting to invade a living cell. Lymph nodes and the spleen work together to filter blood and trap microorganisms. They also send signals to the T cells and B cells created by the bone marrow and thymus, telling them to destroy an invading cell.
Another interesting fact about the immune system is that there are 2 specific types of immunity, innate and acquired. Innate immunity is nonspecific, such as skin or immune cells. Acquired immunity is specific immunity an organism has gained from previous infection.
Have you ever heard about the ancient Egyptian mummies? The mummification process is really cool. They would take out different organs of the body and put them in different jars called canopic jars. The one with the jackal head held the stomach, the jar with the human head held the liver, a jar with a falcon head held the intestines, and the lungs were in a jar with a baboon head. All of the heads represent a different Egyptian god. The Egyptians didn't take care of the brain though. They didn't think it was important. So they would swirl it up until it was soupy and then pull it out through the nose.
Now it's time for the speed round.
The purpose of the reproductive system is to produce gametes and sex hormones. It involves things like the uterus, ovaries, testes, and prostate. Male organisms create sperm through spermatogenesis, and females create eggs through the process of oogenesis.
The function of the muscular system is to provide support in production and to allow movement. It involves skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. Skeletal muscle is responsible for movement because it is attached to the skeleton. Cardiac muscle is located in the heart and is responsible for pumping blood. Smooth muscle is located around organs and moves involuntarily.
The skeletal system supports and protects the soft tissues of the body. It also provides movement at joints and produces blood cells. The skeletal system is comprised of bones, cartilage, joints, tendons, and ligaments.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and we hope this was helpful.
See you next time. It begins with now the
Male organisms create sperm through spermatogenesis, and females create eggs through the process of oogonesis. Cardiac muscle is located. Dang it!
I just farted.
The things we will need are some balloons, a measuring tape.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Alright, the first thing you need to do is grab a balloon and stretch it a bit.